what were some of the things that really sort of surprised you in where it could be usage, it could be game script, anything that kind of think that was not what I was expecting in week 3?
I'll give 3 things, and the first one is going to sound like the least interesting, but there's a story to it, and that's Hunter Henry going off for 2 touchdowns on 11 targets. It's the second most targets he's ever had. That's not a normal thing, but what it reinforces is how difficult it is to evaluate the Patriots passing game. This is not, you can't trust, you don't know if Stephon Diggs is going to actually come back and be the best receiver in week 4. It seems to be a rotating cast of characters of value, and it's unclear who Drake May's primary target is. That surprised me in week 3 because I thought it was going to start to solidify, and instead it's more confusing than ever.
Just with Hunter Henry, have a guess which person started him in week 2 in Scott Fishbowl, but then benched him in week 3.
That happens. That's 89% of our lives right there. That happens so often. The second thing that surprised me, but not for the obvious reasons, was Travion Henderson and Rhamondre Stevenson. What surprised me is that Stevenson came in with 4 lost fumbles in his previous 18 games. And he loses a fumble, and obviously it was 1 week after that blow-up game that he had. And what surprised me is that he went back in, that given his fumble history, his coaching staff still believed in him enough and didn't believe enough in Henderson to keep Stevenson out there. Then Stevenson fumbles again, and that's it.
And I think that this coaching staff, knowing they've got a lack of playmakers, were perhaps a little bit more tolerant and say, right, okay. And because they realize they're going to need everyone, because this year they're going to be competitive, but they're not going to be amazing because they lack a lot of skilled players. And I think they just didn't want to kill the confidence, right? We'll see how it goes. And then, true to form, I think I talked about it on 3 or 4 shows last week that, like, you know, if you got Trayvon Henderson, you just got to be patient, because I tell you now, he's going to fumble the football, Stevenson. He always does. You know, he always does. And then, true to form, it happens. But the Patriots organization is a strange one. This team has drafted historically badly over the last 3 or 4 years. They've taken so many wide receivers, and all of them look. I mean, like, the fact that Keyshawn Booty is still a thing when they've drafted like 5 wide receivers is pretty shocking in its own right. So I think, I think
Julian Edelman was the last good position player that Bill Belichick ever drafted, and that's not an exaggeration.